Hey folks, Ira here. I hope you've had a great Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in for the Earthquake Report. Today is June the 8th, 2016. It was on this day in 1887 when a 7.3 struck Russia. In Alma-Ata, all but one of nearly 1,800 buildings were destroyed. Many people actually survived because of a strong foreshock that occurred 5 minutes before, waking everyone and forcing many from their homes. Today is known as Best Friends and Name Your Poison Day. Alright, it was on this day, 67 years ago, when George Orwell's classic 1984 was published. In 1937, the world's largest and smelliest flower, the 8.5-foot tall corpse flower, bloomed at the Botanic Garden in New York. Alright, Earthquake Report time, here we go. As of 6:21 p.m. Eastern Time, we have clocked in 187 earthquakes. This brings our weekly total to 1,071 and our monthly total to 1,832. For historical reference, a year ago today, we clocked in 286 earthquakes. The strongest to strike the planet then was a 6.1 that struck Mutsu, Japan. We have experienced 4 magnitude 5 earthquakes. The strongest to strike the planet today actually falls within this scale. This was a 5.2 that hit the southern mid-Atlantic ridge. We follow that up with a 5.1 that hit Guatemala, and 2 magnitude 5.0 earthquakes that hit the mid-Indian ridge. We have clocked in only 9 magnitude 4 earthquakes. Looking to the South American plate, we see that Chile was struck with a 4.6, and Peru registered a 4.9. The Caribbean plate experienced movement today as well, this via a 4.5 in El Salvador. The Eurasian plate has been very busy, with multiple earthquakes as well. Japan has experienced 3 4.9s and a 4.4. Russia experienced a 4.3, and finally a 4.2 struck Afghanistan. The remaining earthquakes struck various locations here in the States. We see that Hawaii has registered 7 thus far. The strongest to strike what is considered to be the paradise of the Pacific was a 2.8. Alaska has experienced 46. The strongest to hit was only a 2.9. No unusual earthquake swarms have been detected in this state at this point in time. Washington has clocked in 8. The strongest to strike the Evergreen State was a 1.7. Oregon has logged 1. This was a magnitude 1.0 in Lakeview. Speaking of the West Coast, the largest exercise of any kind in Washington state history began yesterday, Tuesday, June the 7th. We are, of course, talking about the Cascadia Rising earthquake drills. It's all about getting ready for what scientists say is coming, a magnitude 9 earthquake and ensuing tsunami. For decades, evidence has been built around the impact of what a magnitude 9.0 earthquake will have along the Cascadia subduction zone, which is a fault line that runs from California up past Oregon, Washington, and along the western shore of Vancouver Island, British Columbia. In total, the exercise involves multiple states, including Washington, Oregon, and the Canadian province of British Columbia. Some 20,000 people are involved, from civilian first responders to active duty elements of the United States Army, Navy, and the Coast Guard. According to the military, this is to test the response as much as they can, to find the holes and patch them for the time when the real earthquake hits. Apparently, this exercise has been in development for 2.5 years. The scenario projects more than 8,400 people could be killed in Washington state alone in the first earthquake and tsunami, another 12,000 injured. 6,000 could die in Oregon, and the numbers are expected to go higher as the days and weeks drag on. The idea is that immediately after the shaking stops, the word goes out across the country. Following this, the plan is to provide mutual aid and start to mobilize assets as soon as possible. It's very interesting. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Has this been orchestrated because the government knows something we do not? Or is this a simple plan to prepare as many people for what could occur at any point in time in the future? With that being said, please comment below. California has experienced 76 earthquakes thus far. The most intense to strike today was a 2.6 in Rio Del. We have seen multiple locations experiencing swarm activity. This includes Anza with 13, Cobb with 8, Mammoth Lakes with 6, and the Geysers with 9. Nevada has experienced 21 earthquakes today. The strongest to strike the Sagebrush State was a 1.6 in Alamo. Utah has seen one. This was a 1.6 in Fairview. Montana has registered 3. The strongest of these quakes was a 0.8 in West Yellowstone. Idaho remains quiet, as does Wyoming. Oklahoma has clocked in 2. These were a 3.7 in Pawnee and a 2.6 in Medford. The New Madrid seismic fault has not experienced movement today. Along the eastern limb of the North American Craton, it is a different story. We have experienced one. This was a 1.8 in Vonore, Tennessee. Finally, our neighbors to the north experienced one earthquake today as well. This was a 1.8 in Langford, Canada. So, there you have it, folks. We have experienced a relatively quiet day following yesterday's powerful earthquakes. For those not in the know, yesterday we experienced a 6.3 in Indonesia and a 6.2 just off the coast of Mexico. The Indonesian earthquake struck at 4:15 a.m. local time and damaged scores of homes and religious buildings. The epicenter of this quake was 73 miles off the coast and had a depth of 7.5 miles below the Pacific Ocean. With this release of pressure and energy, it makes perfect sense that we are witnessing somewhat of an earthquake quiet. Let's see how long it lasts, shall we? And that is it for the Earthquake Report. If you experienced an earthquake today, or if you would simply like to chat, please post down below. I would like to hear from you. Make certain to like and subscribe. Also, if you like the social media thing, you can link to us via the standard allotted social sites in the description. We'll end this report with a video feed from our favorite star. Guys, stay safe. Have a great night. Hoorah!